Go. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Thank you. All right. So thank you, everyone. I'm excited to share with you our Canine College. It is an enrichment program for both canines and students. At NC State, we have a colony of purpose-bred research dogs. These are maintained to help veterinary students meet their learning objectives throughout the veterinary curriculum. Hands-on teaching includes basic physical exam skills, orthopedic exams, ophthalmic exams, and biological sampling such as blood draws and cystocentesis. We primarily have beagle dogs, but also a handful of medium-sized hounds, and both sexes are represented. When these dogs are not engaged in student teaching, they may also be a shared resource and utilized for minimally invasive studies, such as pharmacodynamic studies, as well as imaging studies, and anything that doesn't permanently alter the dog. And then after the dogs do their years of service with us, they are adopted out to the CVM or greater university community. In 2022, we partnered with the Veterinary Professional Advising Center to create a formal internship for undergraduates. Undergraduate students devoted to the enrichment and advancement of care for dogs were eligible. We wanted to provide these students with the opportunity to participate in the enrichment of laboratory dogs and also engage them in a semester-long research project. Upon completion of the study, students are expected to have a better understanding of canine behavior and training techniques, to experience an introduction to laboratory animal science and medicine, and develop relationships with the College of Veterinary staff, faculty, and students. This takes place at the College of Veterinary Medicine within the Laboratory Animal Resources Department and lasts for about 8 to 12 weeks depending on the semester and includes both fall and spring semesters. Interested students are encouraged to apply by first submitting an interest statement on why they're interested in the internship. They then provide their transcript, and so we evaluate their GPA, but also seniority. We want all students who are interested to have the opportunity to participate in this internship and recognize that senior students may not have another opportunity, and so we tend to give them priority and then encourage juniors who are interested in strong candidates to reapply later years. The schedule is probably one of the single most important parts of the application process. We want to make sure that students have open, repetitive availability to work with their assigned dogs. They need to work with their dogs between the hours of 9 a.m. and 2 p.m., so outside of animal care activities and before people leave for the day. So we look for large blocks of time of availability. And then we schedule the interviews for the internship, which I consider one of the most important parts of this whole internship because it allows me to introduce them to the program, the Stock Dog program, and also interact with them in round-robin interviews. We ask them questions like why are they interested in the program, but we also ask them what do they think animal research is, what is its purpose, and this gives us an outreach opportunity to engage with the students who may not become interns, but to learn more about what we do, what translational research is, biomedical research, its importance, and how we care for our dogs. And then finally, they go out and work with their dogs. They see the dogs, and we can gauge their dog experience. We have had some students that don't have a lot of dog experience, and we encourage them to seek another internship in the program where they can get some preliminary dog experience before joining our internship. Selected students tend to be about 4 to 6 per semester, and they are all invited, or actually, they must attend a mandatory orientation as a group. We go over the program in a PowerPoint, enroll them in occupational health and safety. They're signed up for city training. We're working with the IACUC, and we're soon going to add laboratory dogs as part of that. And then they're introduced to our LAR processes. So biosecurity, traffic flow, where the play yards are, how to access them, how to report any health concerns for their dogs to the veterinary team, and then scheduling their dogs on our lab times calendar so that animal care technicians know when the dogs are out and where they might be. They also receive their dog assignments, and then when they learn how to document things that they do with the dog. So we have a dog enrichment log. They learn how to fill that out. They learn how to fill out the paperwork that is required as part of our regulatory oversight. And then they schedule one-on-one sessions with the coaches. Every year we have 1 to 2 former interns return as coaches. It's great for continuity of the program, but it's also a good leadership opportunity for those students. And once they've attended the orientation, they continue onboarding through this Trello board where they have weekly assignments that include some things like the required OC health and safety enrollment, city training, but they also have some training modules on what is an ethogram, what is positive reinforcement, working with dogs, things like that. This is what the dog assignments look like. Each student has 4 to 6 dogs depending on our census, and they work with those dogs for the entire year. They learn who are they located, who they are, what food type they eat, what treats they like, things like that. And during the semester, they continue to work with these dogs. They have at least 1 hour of weekly interaction with the dogs where they focus on things like conditioning the dogs to go to veterinary teaching labs. What's the pathway they need to walk? What sort of restraint they might experience? We want them to have these positive experiences. Since while the student labs are very well run, it could be stressful for some dogs who haven't been in that environment before. They also work on training the dogs on how to walk on a leash and other simple commands that help with the teaching labs, but also help with their adaptability. And then they continue to enhance enrichment just via human contact and activity. Our animal care technicians also participate in enrichment, but sometimes they might get busy if we're short-staffed or just don't have the ability to do what these students do. So they're a very integral part of our enrichment program. And then with these dogs, the students will work on their semester-long project. So this is an example of what they might be doing during the semester. You can see their activity or interaction log on the left panel. They record how long they worked with the dogs, what they did with each dog, and this is a requirement of the program. Some pictures here you can see in the top left are 2 students working on their research project. Here they were testing whether the dog would seek out the treat under the bowl or go for the untreated bowl that their handler was pointing at. So that was their research question for that semester. On the right, we see 2 dogs in the play yard. And on the bottom left, we see one of our hound dogs walking the brick pathway, which dogs in an animal care facility don't often see a brick pathway, but this is the pathway to student teaching lab. So again, just positive reinforcement of this experience. And then we do regular check-ins. This is really important. Every 2 weeks, checking in with the students, what's working, what's not, updates about maybe there's some fire ants in the play yard or concerns if a dog looks underweight, how to communicate that to the veterinary team. I like to do an icebreaker, get the students talking, get them engaged, and then we really keep on them about the project because 8 to 12 weeks is a very short amount of time to do a research project. So we stay on top of them. We do it by Zoom, we do it in person. We want to engage with these students. And then when they've successfully completed the program, they will have completed their interaction log, they will complete their research project, and they'll provide an oral presentation. This is often the first oral presentation for some of these students, so it's a great low pressure atmosphere. You can see this AIM 3 slide here. That's an example of one of the research projects. The students did a survey sending out to adopters of our dogs and asking, what challenges do you have? And we can really use that information to improve our adoption program. They present a reflection slide, experiences gained, suggestions for the program. We really value their insight here. And then they receive a certificate of completion. And also many of the students go on to submit an abstract and present a poster at their undergraduate research day. So another great research experience for the students. Benefits we find through our program are enhanced animal adoptions. You know, we joke every intern gets a dog at the end of the semester. Not really, but a lot of them have adopted their dogs or had their parents adopt dogs. We've had a really high success rate of our students getting admitted into veterinary schools. Some of them are even pursuing lab animal medicine as their focus area, which is great. And then the enhanced animal enrichment. The dogs seem to be more cooperative in teaching labs. They have decreased levels of stress. And this is all anecdotal in our opinions, but we are currently conducting a case control study to assess that. And so with that, I wanted to make sure I had some time for questions. So I'm going to finish with my acknowledgements and then welcome any questions. So a big shout out to Dr. Trivedi. She is the VetPAC advisor. This was her brainchild. I appreciate she gave me 6 months in my current position before springing this on me, but I'm so glad that she did. Our CVM veterinarians, and then some of our former enrichment specialists and trainers who helped us get this program started, our institutional trainer, and then of course the interns and our dogs. All right, thank you.
Excellent talk. Thank you so much. And we do have a couple of questions and we have a little bit of time, so you timed that beautifully. First question would be, do the students come in and work on weekends and holidays, or is it just during the week?
Great question. They just work during the week, 9 a.m. to 2 p.m. We want to make sure we have enough staff if there is an issue. But we do see on holidays when we don't have our students, we see some changes in our dog behavior. So we would like to explore maybe some holiday options in the future.
Great. Do the students receive undergraduate research credit for the internship time, or do they do this on top of a full class schedule?
They are able, it's not research credits. For some of them, they are able to complete their honors program project, but it is a formal internship, so it does go on their CVE that way.
Wonderful. And then one more question, is the Canine College internship program available for veterinary tech students outside of NC State?
No, it is not. It is just for enrolled NC State undergraduate students.
Okay. But it's certainly a program other people could think about implementing at their place, right? So
exactly. And happy to chat with anyone who wants to do something like that.
Fantastic. I think that is all of our questions. So thank you so much for that very informative talk and the adorable pictures. Those
thank you. Many of our dogs in their new homes.
So
yeah.
thank you so much.